Hi, this is Lori from Time to Be Creative. Today I'm recording the hinge section of the toilet paper tube Beautiful album that we've been working on. And I had hinged this book together. This is the paper we were using. But then I discovered that the video that I recorded was not a good quality. So I'm redoing the hinge tutorial today. And I'm working with a different paper pad just so you can see how I put the hinge together. And if you like this paper better, this is by my Mind's Eye. It's a 6x6 called Be Amazing. And I'm going to hinge these pages together. So I followed the same process as I did for the original book that we're working on. And I have my tubes ready, all covered, with the exception of this last one, which I'll go ahead and cover the inside of my toilet tube. I'll ink my edges. I used my 1-inch punch and cut a half moon space there. And for this book, I'm going to use craft colored paper. I have 4 pages, so I need 4 fins. So I went ahead and I cut my first piece of paper at 1.5 inches and then by 2 5/8. And my second piece is 2.5 inches by 2 5/8. If I wanted to add 2 more pages to make a 6-page book, I would just increase the 2.5 measurement to 3.5. That will give me a 1/2 inch in between each page that allows for room for embellishments. But for me today, I'm just doing the 4-page book, excuse me. So then what you want to do is you want to put those pieces of paper on your scoreboard. And you're going to put the 2 5/8 section at the top, and then you're going to score at a 1/2 inch on both sides. And same with your 1.5 inch piece. And you're going to score that. Now we're going to fold those. And get a nice crease. Fold those in with your bone folder. Press them down. And then we're going to sandwich these two together like this, which will give us the fins to place our pages on. So I'm going to take my score tape and I'm going to tape up my edges. Now this has to attach to the larger piece, so I'm going to run a piece of tape down the back center of the 1.5 inch piece. And then my pages of my book, this is what you don't want to do, this tape really sticks to your fingers, needs to have tape on both sides of the fin so it can adhere to the toilet paper tube. So we're just going to go ahead and tape those on both sides. You want to use a nice, strong quality tape. This is Score tape. There are other brands. That's a brand name. There are other brands on the market. I use one called This to That, and that works fairly well for me. And I'm sure there are others. So it's kind of trial and error. See what you can get locally. It's convenient for you to purchase it, but it's really nice to have this when you're putting together a book. Now on this back side of the 2.5 inch piece, this is going to have to adhere into the book to attach your pages into the spine of your cover. So we're going to cover that completely while we're here, and it's flat. So I'm covering my fins. I think I'm going to switch to a wider, this is 1/4 inch, I think I'm going to switch to my 1/2 inch tape, so I can cover more space. So once you have that taped, you want to make sure you take your bone folder, or you could use your ruler, but you want to make sure you press down that tape so you get a nice stick. Make sure you do all the pieces. Now first what I'm going to do is attach the small 1.5 inch piece to the 2.5 inch piece. And if I line up the outer edge of the 1.5 inch piece with the fold line of my 2.5 inch piece, I can get that centered fairly well. So I'm just going to remove the tape, paper tape portion of that score tape, and then come in and just tape that down. And then again, I'm going to take my bone folder and give that a good press. And that's it. And now you have the 4 fins that you need to attach your pages. Now normally and I didn't do it today, normally I would use my red tape on the fins, because this has a stronger adhesive than your score tape. And you'll notice, like, you can really see it with this book. Like, I flattened all these toilet tubes the same, but you can see this one is not remaining flat. And so what happens is when you attach it to your pages, if you don't get a good stick down here, a lot of times if a toilet paper tube wants to get back to its regular round shape, it causes too much pressure, well, I guess you'd say pressure, or on the tape down here. A lot of times it'll pop. So you want to use a really strong tape, and I didn't do that with this one, but I would suggest that if you have it, to use it. And then what we want to do is just trim off a little bit. We're going to just angle these edges of the fins that we made, because this will help us easily slide in the toilet tubes. And you want to do this with any page that you're adding. If you're doing an envelope book, it's the same idea. Now when you go to add your pages, you just want to make sure that you have your pages in the order that you want in your book. So for me, I have a patterned piece, a plain pattern piece, and then something a little more plain. That's just the way I want the pages to lay out. So then you're just going to attach them to your fins. So I'm going to add my first piece on. I do one piece of adhesive at a time, and all you do is just slip that tube over top of that fin. You want to line it up, and then you're just going to press it down. You're going to take your bone folder and give it a good press, and then I flip it over and come in here and remove that second piece of tape, give it a good press, and then take my bone folder and press it down. So we have our first page attached. I'm going to do the same thing with my second page. I'm going to lift up that paper tape, slip your toilet tube on, just want to make sure it's going in the right direction and the right order. I have my cutout there, I have my cutout there. I'm going to give it a press. Come back in with my bone folder. And then I'm just going to sneak in there and grab that other piece of tape. And then press that. Sometimes I always keep a tweezer by my workstation, because if you can't get that little piece of tape, you can go in and grab it with a pair of tweezers. This tool I'm using is just an old tool I had for ceramics, and I just like the pointiness where I can go in and lift that paper. I usually don't have too much in the way of fingernails. Alright, so I'm going to do again the same thing. Third page. I'm going to slip that onto the tube. It's the direction that I want. Press that down. Sneak in and grab that other piece of tape. And again, press it really well with your bone folder. And then now the last page. Just want to make sure that it's lined up and it's straight. Give it a good press. And then come back and get that last piece of tape. And that's it. Now we have the inside of another book. We've taped the back of the spine, the back of the hinge. That will go into onto the spine of our cover. And then once we get our cover done, we'll make some photo mats for our pages, decorate the pages, build the cover, and then we'll be done. I hope you find this video helpful. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.